Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, scrutinize, and celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I am Nick Mielke from the SSWNetwork.com.
Welcome, Nick. I've been on your program, the Podcast of the Wills, and happy to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and we had great fun hanging out when you were on Podcast of the Wills, and I'm excited to get a chance to hang out with you guys. Y'all have been a part of my podcasting journey, and I'm excited to hang out.
Well, you joined us for minute 81 of The Rise of Skywalker. Minute 81, I hope that's what you were prepared for. It starts.
I just had to check my notes. I was like, 81? Oh, yeah, I guess it is 81.
81. Can't believe we're 81 minutes in already. Right. 81 starts off with Kylo Ren walking in slow motion in the rain as if he were in a music video from 1993. And it ends with an exhausted Rey on her knees, fending off Kylo Ren's punishing blows. Kylo Ren and the punishing blows. That's his bar band.
His backup band.
Yeah.
For a little bit. He's the kind of guy, he changes it all the time.
Yeah. Got a little 90s emo thing going in the rain, the long hair, the dark clothing. I feel like that could totally work.
We never see Rey with her hair totally down, right? She always has it up in some kind of.
She's very put together. Even in this, what we see is a very, very rainy and wet minute of the film. She is still very put together, whereas Kylo's got that roguish, rainy hair, dastardly bad guy thing going on.
Right. It would be funny to see like if Rey's hair gets all poofy because of the humidity and everybody's like takes a minute. Everybody's like, oh, wow. All right. You look different.
Or she gets a perm at one time and everyone's like, oh, remember that time when you had
a perm for a camping trip?
Forced perm.
She ends up with the giant hair dryer from Spaceballs.
Yeah, there you go. Connecting. So this minute is just lightsaber battling. It's 1 minute of nothing but lightsabers.
We get some good we get some meat for the those who study lightsaber technique, and I'm not one of them, but there are people who deep dive on the lightsaber technique, which I think is great. Everybody's got a niche in Star Wars, and I love that kind of Kylo flips to underhand. And then Rey kind of has to adjust to that. She kind of does the same, to adapt to his style in a sense.
I was looking online about this because I was like, it seems so awkward that holding, Ahsoka does it the same way where she holds them backwards. It seems so like they're just trying to come up with cool ways for people to hold lightsabers, but apparently it is based on some earthly, weapon thing. But somebody said that she does.
That's as specific as you get. It's based on some earthly weapon.
Earthly thing.
That's as far as I got.
Well, like you, I am also not a connoisseur of the fighting. So, it was just a bunch of jargon that, it's the Type 4, so-and-so style.
Right.
I'm like, okay, you might as well be.
And like you, I am also not necessarily a saber fighting expert in the styles, but it did ring the bell as you said it, and I thought a similar thing. Is that really helpful? Is this a good way to fight? And all I could flash back to is one of my other favorite TV shows is The Sopranos. And there's a scene when Anthony Jr. is working at Blockbuster Video, and I believe they're watching Predator, and he's explaining to his buddy that he's working with about holding the knife backwards. So maybe if we need a reference, we should just go rewatch The Sopranos and figure out why it works. I don't know. That's all I have to bring to the table.
Well, one of the comments I read about it said that Rey does it because it's almost like she is learning it from Kylo Ren.
Right.
It's she's feeding, they have they're a dyad. I don't know if you guys heard, they're a dyad. And so she is basically accessing.
Oh my God. Did you hear about Kylo and Rey? They're totally a dyad.
Totally a dyad.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the lightsaber fights, we get, and they both do it. I wanted to know how you guys feel about the force hand lightsaber blade stopping situation, because we get Kylo stopping the blaster bolt. I don't feel like we get a lot of this prior to this movie, but as someone who is not a lightsaber expert, there's that part of me that just wonders, like, if you don't concentrate just quite enough, that blade just keeps on going and your fingers are gone. Like, this doesn't seem to me like the most, combat savvy thing to do, but they both went for it with, I'd say, a fair amount of gusto.
Yeah, that's something you have to be sure you can do it before you try it.
Correct.
Right, yeah. Perhaps unsurprisingly, not a fan of it's force creep. It's like, well, if they can do this, why not? Why don't they do it all the time? Why are lightsabers? You know what I mean? It's like if they had, and I know I'm gonna get medieval weapons experts or something like that, but like it's like, oh, why didn't they just have knife proof gloves when knights had sword battles? And it's like people are gonna be like, they did and they did this, but like, why is this a thing? If you can just stop the lightsaber blade with your hand with the Force, that seems like they would have done it a lot, and maybe again I'll get maybe High Republic or Old Republic people being like, yes, this was a common technique back in blah blah blah, but I don't like it because it doesn't jive with my Star Wars, and I'm not saying nobody should like it. I'm just saying I don't like this because this isn't
not for you.
This is too much of an extension of the Force beyond what I'm comfortable with. And seems like overkill. Although, let me back that up with, I do find it kind of amusing that when Rey stops Kylo Ren's lightsaber, for a brief second it sounds kind of like Roger Rabbit. She like blocks it and it's like as like she like the energy kind of is hitting her force field around
very strange
her hand
force
or whatever.
dissipation of that energy.
Yeah. And I like that it's they have two different pitches when they are stopped with the Force, and I don't know if the Force that's stopping the blade is causing the pitch, or if causing the sound, or if the lightsaber blade, or some combination of the two. But definitely, if you listen back, Rey stopping Kylo's blade sounds like Roger Rabbit, and Kylo Ren stopping Rey's blade sounds more just like a standard sci-fi thing.
Do you think they're stopping the blade, or are they stopping the hand of the person who is? You know what I mean?
That's a very, I don't know if that's chicken and egg, but it's certain.
Yeah.
We get the distorted lines in the saber blade as they're swinging it, almost as if, the blade is fighting against something. So I'm inclined to think it's the blade, not the hand. Almost, if we study the laws of physics, because obviously if we're talking about earthbound physics, as we already have, you stop the hand, that blade might keep coming towards you. So you really want to stop the blade. That's the most dangerous part. Pro tip: lightsaber blades, the most dangerous part.
Yeah, who knew?
I remember Yoda said that. Also, they're not really trying to kill each other. Can we establish that they're not trying to kill each other? They're just kind of this is what they call dyad foreplay. Is this whole scene here is what's going on? So
they should be making sounds with they should be like goosh doosh, like making sounds with their mouths, like
that's right.
Playground kids.
More in the fantasy side of it. Well, and it begged the question as I watched this minute, looking at this fight scene, and I was curious what you guys' opinions were, because we get a good amount of it in Last Jedi, but we also get several scenes in this movie. How do you guys feel about the Rey Kylo lightsaber scenes, as a whole? Of course, we have a little bit of, like Alex or Pete, you called it force creep. She's developing these skills. We know she has some hand-to-hand combat. We see it at the beginning of Force Awakens with the staff. She practices on Octo with the stack of rocks and whatnot. Do you like their fight scenes? Because we don't get tons of lightsaber fights over the course of the trilogy. We get in pockets of here and there. But theirs, certainly makes up the meat of the sequel trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think we've talked about the last. Does the Last Jedi count? Because it's not technically a lightsaber duel between the two of them.
Sure,
but it's a lightsaber.
But
battle.
that's it's a lightsaber battle, and they're involved, but they're not. But that's certainly top. I was going to say top 10. Are there 10 lightsaber duels in the whole saga? But yeah, that's top shelf stuff, and this, I think this is up there, up until not counting the force creep. This part of it is a little bit of a ding on it for me, but overall, like the stuff kind of just before this, And the way that this kind of culminates after this, I like, I like a lot of it. It's a good setup. It's a good, you understand what's behind it more than not a lot, but more than, sometimes it's just kind of perfunctory. And this seems, it built up to a certain point and you know why they're fighting and you know what their motivation, what their, mental stakes are. And I think it's good stuff.
I'll take the I'm not crazy about this lightsaber battle. Personally, I like lightsaber battles that have more talking and more kind of like interaction, whereas this it's the same. I feel the same way about the Revenge of the Sith, the lava battle. It's just like it becomes almost more just like a display of calisthenics rather than a exciting battle to me personally. But
you like the chess match, the Return of the Jedi style, stalking and playing, vocal pawns against one another. That feels like more your groove.
Yeah, I would say Empire is probably to me because that has
there's
going in, there's big stakes between the two characters.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk a little bit, they fight, they talk a little bit, they fight, they talk a little bit, and then the most exciting moment is of course the talking when he says, "Luke, I am your father." So. But says, your mileage may vary.
And he says, "Play it again, Stan."
Yes, I enjoy these scenes. I think one of the things that I do admire, and I'm a big sucker for behind the scenes, anything process. If it's Mandalorian Gallery episodes, Director and the Jedi, anything that we can get behind the scenes Star Wars, I'm a huge fan of. And so to see the dedication that Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver had to learning these routines, the same way we saw. We see the old footage of Mark Hamill in his boots and, belt with the stick. We see Obi-Wan or Ewan and Hayden Christensen. Like, I admire when that goes into these lightsaber scenes, when they put their own, physicality into it, learning the routines, the choreography. Like, that always impresses me. So I feel like I project some of that into watching these scenes. And whether we're holding the lightsaber the right way or the backwards way, I know that they did that in a warehouse with cardboard boxes for a long time to figure out how to do it, and I always appreciate that.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah, we didn't talk. I mean, it doesn't. It's not going to serve us well to talk about the practicality, the nitpick, the physical practicality of this. But like Kylo Ren flipping his thing underhanded. We had a lot of discussion about the design of his lightsaber, I think, when we did The Force Awakens, and this kind of further cements that. It's like, wait a minute, doesn't that get more tricky to not slice your own hand off?
That's right. There's a wrist danger that happens when you turn that thing around.
Yeah, but we've already accepted that. We're already been on that.
We've been there. It's cool.
Yeah.
So in real life,
speaking of practicality, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Guest goes first.
I was going to say, speaking of practicality, I can't help but watch these scenes. Of course, it is very rainy on the moon of Kef Bir. We're walking on, rainy. We get the splashing, we get the waves, we get all this water that is coming across these broken parts of the Death Star, and it certainly cements, some things as I continue to age in my life. I'm watching them walk across this wet, slippery metal, going, somebody's going to fall down. There's not any rails here. The traditional Star Wars, there's no rails here. Yeah. Like, all of these things come flashing back to me. And then Kylo's outfit is so heavy when it gets wet. Like, it's heavy. Like, everything about this as an old man, I'm going, no, I'm not interested in this. I don't want to be a part of this. It's too wet. I'll stay home. I'm not going.
He's basically wearing an outfit made of dish towels, and that's going to be
exactly.
That's going to sog him down quite a bit.
Yeah, it just, as a grouchy old man, I was looking at that going, I don't think I need to show up for this one. I'll wait for the next one.
That would be great if during the battle they were constantly slipping and having to get back up and slipping.
It's like, whoa. Yeah.
Or trying, he sees his moment to attack, and he's running in place for a second, and there's little bongos. It's like,
they get that little balance, like when it's icy, you're like, okay, I'm good. And then you slip again. Just
it's like the ice level of a video game. It's
you have to slowly shuffle along the ground.
It becomes a less dramatic fight. It's just trying not to fall down or stab yourself.
So
and every once in a while, Finn pops up to shout. He's like, "Ray, whoa!" and falls off the side of the thing. And then he comes back. He's like, "Ray, Ray, 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 Ray!" Falls
sliding
off the thing
across in the background.
Yeah.
Do you obviously Kylo Ren pretty much wears black all the time. I don't recall seeing him in anything other than that. Do you think does Rey, when she gets back to her house sopping wet and rings, does she just open up her closet and pick out the same exact outfit dry? You know what I mean? Does she just have a
100%.
closet full of arm sleeves and
I almost like to imagine it's just a big roll of like mummy bandages, and she just unrolls the amount she needs and kind of wraps it around and then around your neck and crisscrosses around the waist. And it's less of an outfit. It's more of, a tool that you can turn into any kind of outfit you want.
Right. It's like the clothing equivalent of duct tape. It's like
Exactly.
You can just turn it into anything you need there. Yeah. I would like to see her mix in some more colors, though. I mean, that's I know what she's going for, but I want the Rey equivalent of Luke's kind of ceremony, medal ceremony outfit. I want that, like, oh hey, yellow jacket, all right,
right. Or formal wear.
Yeah.
Maybe not all the way to the all black Return of the Jedi outfit, but that good middle ground, the Bespin outfit, something like that.
I like that. I'd like to see them add a little bit of color, like brown and mustard. Like that would be a good.
Exactly.
Make it pop a little bit, but
Well, in The Last Jedi, that was like her most. She went from just wearing kind of like tan to wearing, it was almost like a cool bluish gray. So I was wondering if this next one was going to be, and I guess this one she's all white. So, like Gandalf.
I'd like to see her maybe some forest green or some magenta.
Camouflage. I want to see camouflage, but not the old school camouflage.
And
I want that digital camouflage.
The new digital camouflage that turns out was a waste of money.
Well, and we know that in The Last Jedi, in Force Awakens, she discovered that there was all this green in the galaxy. So now that she's found the rest of the green, we should certainly see that pop up in her outfits.
I'd love to see her just like making like a similar kind of outfit made out of like AstroTurf, like just like she went and she's like, look at all this green, and like bought, like a mini golf course, almost like a putt thing that she just turned into like a Rey outfit.
Or all the flags outside of Maz's castle. She's not going to miss one or two of those flags.
Not anymore.
Perfect opportunity right there.
So, a putt outfit with a flag cape.
That's right. She's become very Scottish all of a sudden.
That's my dream Rey outfit.
Another thing I think would have been funny if you have all these big waves crashing and splashing is if like a wave crashed over and there was like a squid head guy who accidentally got knocked over onto their, sorry, or he jumps back in the water.
Dr. Zoidberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Comes walking through with like a mop, sweeping it up, it's a living, that kind of thing. Just keeps going.
One of those signs that says caution.
I found your wayfinder.
Did you drop this?
Well, another here I'm gonna refer briefly to. I'm not directly referring to the novelization, and of course I mean the Star Wars Episode 9: The Rise of Skywalker expanded edition by Ray Carson, New York Times bestselling author Ray Carson. But in that they mentioned, and I think it comes back up in this. I don't have a direct quote from it, but if you notice during this part of the fight, they're doing, some sabers clash, and then Rey kind of shakes her hand out a little bit, almost like she, like she got stung hitting a ball or something like that. And it's not just because of the clash of sabers; her hand is still diminished from healing the serpent.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. When she transferred some force energy to the Vexus or whatever, the serpent in Ochi's cave. That took a lot out of her hand, and so her hand is still kind of like a little bit pins and needles. And so when she's doing the saber thing, then she shakes it out because it's still hurting from that. So
wow, that's so weird considering that she uses the power in like 2 minutes.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like you'd think, like
is
she still?
We'll have to look.
aching?
Does she switch hands? We'll have to see.
Maybe.
I think she does.
That's right. And at that point, then can she walk with it like dead at her side, or can she like develop a limp all of a sudden? Like I kind of want to see. I want to see the continual drain of the force energy from like when she runs into Finn again, and he's like, "Hey," and she can only lift one arm to hug him because we're still recovering from the force healing on the other side. Like those are some details that I would be interested in. I like that you brought that up, Pete.
Or I like that. Like it's slowly she's ready. So like she has to heal somebody else, and so she's like, okay, hang on, and she like takes off her boot and puts her foot on their wound. Like, okay, hang on,
you got to balance it out a little bit.
All right,
it's gonna end
and
with
she
puts her forehead.
Chewie carrying her around on his back in like a net at the end of the film.
Right.
Like Uncle Jack from Arrested Development when they're just carrying him around. Fling me.
But yes, I would like to. Let's keep track of that. When we get to the healing part, I want to see what hand it is.
I was wondering if this is the biggest height disparity between lightsaber duelists. Adam Driver is 6'2", Daisy Ridley is 5'7". I have to assume the king of the tall people in this situation is Christopher Lee, who comes in at a towering 6'5".
And doesn't he fight Yoda?
Exactly. I was going to say Yoda and Dooku. That's our disparity right there.
Those are your tent poles. That's
the tallest and the shortest. It makes sense that they would be against each other.
That's clearly the one.
Team up. They should do like a chicken fight lightsaber battle. Yoda and Dooku versus like two normal size.
Normal size.
Normal size, quote unquote. Yeah. Let's not bring Yarrow Poof into this.
Oh yeah, there you go. My last thing, and I don't know why I wrote this down, but it's a question for the panel. Do any Star Wars humans have tattoos? The only tattoos I can think of are aliens. Jabba has a tattoo. Darth Maul, of course, is all tattoos. But I can't think of any humans.
I am by no means an expert, and I am certainly deficient when it comes to the comic book area. But am I to understand that what Dr. Aphra has on her arms are those tattoos?
Oh, maybe. You're more of an expert than I am.
I don't know, but that would be the only guess I would really have.
Yeah. We have to call Jordan and Heather back up and ask them. Or we could just read a book, but it's gonna bug me a little bit. I'm gonna have to try to think of that. I love the idea though of like Han Solo seems like the type of guy who would have a regrettable tattoo. He would have a tattoo that like was really popular, like 10 ABY, and then the whole rest of his life, like anytime somebody sees him without a shirt, he's just like, oh yeah, sorry.
It's like a space eagle with the flag of Corellia coming out of its mouth,
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
the space equivalent of a Camaro tattooed on his back.
Or a treasure.
It
would be the Falcon. I would love that. If he had the Falcon tattooed on him, I would be like, all right.
Maybe that first speeder he had in the Solo movie. Maybe that was his like Pontiac Fiero or something, and it just had to be, his memory of his first ride.
Totally. We should do. I'm sure there are out there somewhere like shirts of like that car style.
Mm-hmm.
That traditional kind of, gaudy, but, kind of with like flames and stuff, kind of car shirt, but of Star Wars vehicles.
I remember when the Solo movie was coming out, and I think it may have even come from some of the Lucasfilm, like the production artists and folks. They circulated online. You can still find them, but they were some kind of mock-ups of the Lando Falcon when it still had the middle piece in it. And it had different paint schemes, and one of them was actually the Smokey and the Bandit, the Trans Am. It was like black with the gold, like the flames and the eagle look. And then there was one, I don't think there was one that was Dukes of Hazzard, but there were a couple that kind of took exactly what you're talking about, Pete, as far as like taking it and kind of putting like flames on it and giving it that modern. And of course, they weren't serious considerations for the movie, but it was a fun little exercise in what if the Millennium Falcon looked like a Trans Am?
The fact that they weren't serious considerations for the movie is everything that's wrong.
That's where
Solo.
we failed. That's right. That's where we failed.
I mean, given what we know about the Lord Miller thing, they might have been more serious considerations at one point, but we'll see.
That could have been the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. We want to paint it like Bandit.
Smokey and the Bantha.
Smokey.
Do we have anything
Bantha.
else from
There's your t-shirt.
Minute number 80? Well, that's our shirt for this time, Smokey and the Bantha.
Yeah, there you go.
Anything else for minute number 81 of The Rise of Skywalker?
No, this will continue until tomorrow. I got stuff that'll keep.
All right, yeah. The duel.
I don't think I really had anything other than I just had that there was clearly a dialogue count of 0 in this minute. There were no words spoken whatsoever, so I felt like it was important to keep count.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, it's a pretty quiet week. There's not a lot of talking this week. Anyway.
A lot happened.
Kept count.
That's
right.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see, won't we?
We will indeed. And you know what else we'll see? We'll see you guys this weekend when we have our Patreon episodes. That's right. If you go to StarWarsMinute.com/Patreon or just go to StarWarsMinute.com, you can find a link to our Patreon. And there you can help support the show. And not only will you get access to bonus episodes on the weekends, but you can get exclusive access to our exclusive Discord, where we're on there talking about Star Wars and other pop cultural topics. And guess what? There's a 7-day trial period now, so you can try it out. And if we think that you'll like what you hear, and we'll be like, all right, this is something I want to shovel my hard-earned money into. So go do that.
Although, let me throw this out there as a chat. I don't want people to.
Challenge?
I don't necessarily want people to sign up and then quit, because I would love you to continue to support the show if you like this. But I would be interested in, if you do the 7-day trial, and then you bail after the 7 days. Hey, we all have budgets and whatever else, but I do want to know how many episodes you got to listen to in the 7 days. So if you sign up and then you bail after 7 days, let me know. Go find us online. Let us know how many episodes you listened to, because
yes,
I want to see what A, your tolerance is, and B, what the physical capacity is. Although I will get upset if you start telling me you're listening to them at 1.5 or double speed, because that's just unnatural.
And also tell us what we can do to what did we do wrong in the 7-day trial period? Like, what are we not giving you that you want to hear?
Yeah. So, where'd you go? Why not? Why not us? Huh?
We'll hound you at your home and business just to find out the answer. All right, then. We'll see everyone tomorrow for minute number 82 of The Rise of Skywalker on the next Star Wars Minute.
The next Star Wars Minute.